felt like an illness. I really thought there was something wrong with me. Went to the hospital and stuff, and they found nothing.
Just misery.
Anxiety. That's what it was. The actual anxiety of going back to work, thinking I shouldn't be here, I shouldn't be doing this, was actually making me feel physically ill. And that hasn't happened once since I've changed my career. Not once. So it was like a sicky feeling every morning, thinking, and what it was just mindset.
Just telling you, you're doing the wrong thing.
Doing the wrong thing. I shouldn't be doing this.
Wow. My equivalent when I trained a couple of thousand years ago was I'd sit on the tube and I'd be sitting on the tube going, terrible haircut, terrible haircut, terrible haircut. I'd do this, I'd do that. Obviously, the tube's now been switched for Instagram or social media or whatever avenue. It does have to absorb you, especially if you're doing it as a second career that you're then starting again and relearning.
When I first started at my salon in Brentwood, I went a bit old school. I had my card, I had my leaflets, I didn't have loads of clients, and I went to the corner. I introduced myself to everyone.
The move from free to mates rates to proper rates is a hard shout.
It's always that question as well. I see, it's like, do you give mates rates? And for my mates, no. They pay the same.
You're a mate. You want to see me do all right.
They understand I've got a flat to pay for. If I decide to give everyone mates rates half price, we've got to do double the amount of people.
Welcome to The Noble Barber. This is a podcast for barbers by barbers, cutting through the crap of the industry. We all want to know how our businesses can run better. I want to talk to people who've done it, messed it up and got it right second time round, and can tell us the way that you and I can make our businesses better. Hi there. Welcome to another episode of The Noble Barber. I'm here today with Liam Leahy. Hi, Liam. And we're talking about, well, you're kind of new to the industry to some extent. I mean, you made the change.
Yeah.
I've been wanting to talk to someone new, fresh into the thing. I've spoken to a lot of us that have been in it a long time. Mm-hmm. So, what was your past life before barbering?
So before barbering, I basically worked in the city of what people call amongst the rat race. Started there at 18. It's a bit of a strange direction. So actually, when I was 18, barbering was an option then.
Right.
I spoke to my local barber, but barbering, hairdressing, and the men's industry was a different time. When I first done it at 18, we're going back like 12 years ago. You can see how much it's obviously grown. It's a lot more advanced. It's a lot more into that like women's area.
Yeah.
More of a salon perception. So I got some work experience with my cousin in London, and I did that. And the advice at the time was I going to go basically to my local, college. So it was like a Basildon college, or would I like the city life? And the family advice you take at the time, you speak to your family. My cousin was doing pretty well in London, and I just took that direction. I went there. I had a few different jobs there. I actually stayed at the same company, which is unheard of as well, which I think maybe not enjoy it as much. You become comfortable, complacent, you get the same wage coming each month. Obviously, when I say same wage, my wage increased. Obviously, as the years went past, I got better jobs, but it just always felt like there was something missing, something niggling. A lot of things that used to get to me was I would meet new people, whether it be on holiday with your girlfriend or with your friends and stuff, and you have that conversation. People ask you, what do you do? What do you do for a living? And I would say to them, I work in the city. My last job was self-support. I was one of the supervisors. So I was in a management position as well, like quite good. And I'd let them know. And the first thing that people would say to me is, you don't look like you do that. and when they said that to me as well, straight away, but I know, I don't feel like I should be. It doesn't feel like I should be doing this. It doesn't feel fulfilling. But obviously said, well, why don't you do it sooner? Why don't you do it sooner? It's such an easy thing for some people to change career, but life gets in the way. So there was multiple times when I thought about just jacking it in sort of thing and going for it. Maybe when I was about 21. If I go through like my Facebook messages, I've got one with my local, his name's Ray, and my local in Basildon, local barbershop. It's quite a quick style. It's not like it's a great barbershop still as well, but they're not charging through the roof. Sure. It's a standard like £15,
proper
£20. Yeah, local barbershop where you'd be queuing up, not appointments, that sort of thing. And I messaged him. I remember I'll go through my inbox when it was there, and it was around the time I was about 21, saying, what do you think? Am I too old? And him telling me, so yeah, go for it. And I remember stupidly at that time, I thought to myself, again, I'd got built up a little bit of debt sort of thing, and I didn't do it then for whatever reason. And then it got to a time when I was 25 and I thought, yeah, I was really going to do it then. I was going to do it then. But
so you always had this kind of dissatisfaction that was going through. You never went happily to work. It was something was always in the background.
Yeah, around the time I was about 26 as well, so I felt like an illness. I really thought there was something wrong with me. Went to the hospital and stuff and they found nothing.
Just misery.
Anxiety. That's what it was. The actual anxiety of going back to work thinking I shouldn't be here, I shouldn't be doing this, was actually making me feel physically ill. And that hasn't happened once since I've changed my career. Not once. So it was like a sicky feeling every morning thinking, and what it was just mindset.
Just telling me
you're doing the wrong thing. I shouldn't be doing this.
Wow. So for you though, the change or the opportunity to change came when COVID hit, when then the rest of us were all miserable that we were barbers and couldn't do any work.
Yeah. So
it gave you that switch.
It gave me that opportunity to focus in on it. It's hard to, you can set a mindset or set a goal like I'm going to do it, but when you've got your everyday another job going on, it was hard to focus to actually build up the money. Like I say, I'd go to work every day, go to the pub, spend train fare.
Yeah.
And COVID happened. And I thought to myself, straight away every day, there's £20 every single day there, just on a train fare that I'm going to be able to save. So I'd done it. I built up some piece together the money finally, and I booked the 12-week course at London School of Barbering. Reason I chose that course as well is when you search on Google, London barbering schools, it's one of the top ones that comes up there, whether that be its name, it's the London School of Barbering, whether it's search, or whether for its reputation. Obviously, then I looked at Instagram, I liked what I saw. And I thought, yeah, I'll book that. So yeah, I went and done that, and I booked it for May 2022. So it was, even when I said lockdown made it happen, it was still that period of the whole lockdown, working from home, having to put together the money. And also...
And you were working remotely at this point with your day job?
Working remotely from my house, still doing the same jobs, obviously, exactly the same workload. But when I finally actually handed in my notice, there was still that period where I had to think about once I'd left. So there's the 12 weeks at the London School of Barbering. That's 12 weeks obviously not receiving any money at all, because there is options in the course where you can do part-time, you can do evening courses. But for me, where that mindset, I didn't want to do it half-hearted. I didn't want to have to go to the London School of Barbering, finish at London School of Barbering, because there's a morning or afternoon course you can do. I chose to do the morning course, which finished at 1 o'clock. You finish at 1 o'clock, I didn't want to then have to go to a part-time job. And that was mainly being, I wanted to make myself available if anyone wanted a haircut. There wasn't many. There wasn't. Don't get me wrong. There wasn't. I didn't have a queue of people, but I had those friends, family, and like word of mouth that people was willing to give me a go. Once I finished, and
presumably help with your training, help move you on that bit
100%
faster.
100%. Like I say, with those training courses, I actually had a bit of a backwards and forwards with someone on Facebook when I finished on that. It was, I see an advertisement for the course. It's like they advertise it. Probably the wording may not be. They say become a master barber. Obviously, you're not going to be a complete master, but it's the master's course. That's what they call it. And I think a lot of people take that too literal. You had, there was a comment that someone said on Facebook, and it was like, you can't teach someone hairdressing or barbering in 9 to 12 weeks, which you can teach someone it. It's the level that they come out that after. They may not be a master barber, but it's still the fundamental basics that are provided to understand how to cut hair, and how you take that is down to you.
But even with ours, I mean, we'll take our apprentices from start to finish. And they train with us, and they work for us 5 days a week, and they're trained, and they do some other aspects and all that kind of stuff. But even with ours, when they've done their kind of 18-month, got their NVQ, there's still a year that we call it an improver.
Yes.
And so their salary changes, obviously. But for the following 12 months, they'll do some clients, they'll do more work, they'll do more practice. And it's like getting your flying hours in. You know, once you know how to play, you know how the plane works, but a year later you get better and better. Yeah,
so like I say, I feel better as a barber now than I did when I come out of the course, because obviously it's 15 months since I finished that. I'm no way complete. I know I'm not complete. I try to perceive myself as complete as possible and present what I can do at the minute in the best way possible. But there's plenty of courses I've already booked onto courses this year as well that I'm going to be going to improve. It's that continuous improvement and development that obviously I know I need to have. But I was more than satisfied with what was supplied to me at the beginning with the London School of Barbering. I think there were some great teachers there.
And how many more people were on the course with you? I mean, is that a bit of band of brothers and sisters when you're doing that? Or do you go in, do your bit and leave and there's no...
No, so there is, I'm actually, February, I'm meeting up with a couple of people that I went to my course with. One of them's from South Africa, one of them's Ireland. They're both working in Oxford.
I was going to say, gone on to get jobs?
Gone on to get jobs in England. So yeah, they're both working in Oxford for... a barbershop, I think it's called Youngman's in Oxford. They're working for, so I'm going to go visit them in February.
And again, did they have the same sort of mindset? They were quite focused on it and passionate about becoming it.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, if you spoke to the Irish guy that I'm friends with, we live, breathe hairdressing. If you look at our Instagram, it's just supporting each other loads and obviously encouraging each other to do more and also sending each other loads of hair videos that we've seen are really good online. And
yeah, but it has to. I mean, my equivalent when I trained a couple of thousand years ago was I'd sit on the tube and I'd be sitting on the tube going, terrible haircut, terrible haircut, terrible haircut. I'd do this, I'd do that. And I think it's only that kind of focus that obviously the tube's now been switched for Instagram or social media or whatever avenue. It does have to absorb you. It does have to. And especially if you're doing it as a second career, that you're then starting again and relearning.
100%. And then, like you say, you mentioned there about like the tube and like the personal, physically seeing the people instead of an Instagram. I did that when I first started at my salon in Brentwood. I went a bit old school. I had my card, I had my leaflets. I didn't have loads of clients, and I went to the corner and I introduced myself to anyone I could. I think that does help coming from a little bit of a sales background.
Yeah.
I'm a bit extroverted. I don't get that nervous and stuff to approach people. I always feel like the worst someone can say is no. Sorry, I haven't got time to speak to you. So I went door knocking. I put my headphones in. This was what I was doing when I finished at the course, but before I started, just to try and introduce myself into the area.
Yeah.
Like I said, I didn't know anyone in Brentwood, and the reasoning behind choosing Brentwood instead of working somewhere in Basildon is because I always knew I'd have my home set up in Basildon. Part of me thought that if I was going to a barbershop in Basildon, and obviously at the beginning, like the rates you might be paying, where you're not getting a lofty percentage, I thought to myself, I'd probably end up doing these clients at my house. And I wouldn't want to go and do that to someone in the area. Not saying, I could go and like take their clients, but naturally you might, if you're not available for the time that I'm working the shop, and I'd say, okay, I've got some space in my house, I wouldn't want to take that away. So I thought if I go to a different area, it spreads me further. The clientele's larger, and there's more heads in the area. So I thought I'd just spread a little bit out. And that old school.
Well, I think there's still a lot to be said for writing your name on a card when you cut someone's hair, give them a card and go, tell your mates about me. And
100%.
It still works.
Yeah, it felt for me when I didn't have the clients like I was doing something to do it. If I was sitting there thinking, I've got no clients, I'm not cutting no hair. At least while I was not cutting hair at the beginning, I had my headphones in, I was out, I was introducing myself.
Yeah.
And probably, I called it luck, but I feel like a lot of things happen for a reason. That's actually how I met one of my most regular clients now. He's a guy called Tom. He was walking along the street. It was in a chirotherapy shop in Brentwood. I went in there and I said, can I just leave a couple of my cards there? Because I thought there'd be sports people there. Maybe in the chiro, there might be a few like West Ham youth players maybe, or people that go get the chiro wellness. And I got a phone call later on that day, and it was, I see you give your card out into the chiro wellness. I was like, sorry, I didn't catch your name. He's like, no, I was standing behind you with my dad. And his guy called Tom is actually a professional boxer. And now he comes to me weekly. I sponsor him. Got my little logo on his shorts, got my little logo on his robe. But that was literally chance. Chance meeting, just going into a shop and leaving your cards and asking. So,
but the harder you work, the luckier you get.
Yeah.
Just to go back to while you were training, how's that feel? First day, you go from doing a job you've done for 10 years that you can do sleepwalking, and suddenly they're giving you a comb, pair of scissors, clippers.
Daunting.
Yeah,
it's daunting. I don't know if you know the way the London School of Barbering works.
Yeah.
They run it like a barbershop. So obviously, your first day, you're not cutting a real human head, obviously. You're cutting dolls. But people, they say, oh, well, after 4 weeks, you're cutting human hair. No, like a week.
Yeah,
a week,
yeah.
7 days, you're sharing a haircut at first. That definitely helps, I think, because you've got the confidence where you can bounce off with one of your other students. You know, you're backing each other. Like you say, there's that companionship. So you want each other to succeed. Daunting, that's the best way to describe it. Daunting if you've literally not prepared, but if you've familiarised your stuff. I was so ready to change my career. The second I got my delivery of all my tools, I had them open, I took them apart. I put, you know, like a kid when they're engineering stuff, I took them apart. I wanted to know how they worked. I tested them. I couldn't cut my brother's hair any more times, you know, so I felt like I was ready there to give it a go. What it does say as well on the London School of Barbering, when you read, it says to familiarise yourself with everything. So where I've been waiting for this moment for so long to finally change my career, I read everything, you know? I'd watched all the videos that we was going to be learning now. I'd watched them all once before. So I knew that it was coming, but there was a few people that obviously hadn't done that when we was in our class. Well, like some people, they open up their tools and stuff on the day, which is nothing wrong with that. But I guarantee if you ask the students, the teachers and stuff after the level of someone who's opened up their tools at least before the first day, and the person who's opened them on the first day, there is that little bit of a head start to help you with confidence, even just holding it, you know, just holding the clippers, holding the combs.
The mindset's really important. I mean, I've got, you know, even qualified hairdressers now. I was at a conversation even recently where even they're quite daunted by short hair, you know, and especially when you're kind of, you know, you're setting a clipper and you're doing, you know, a 0 or a 1 or you know,
get that foil fader out as well, and then especially there's no room for error.
You know,
there's no room for error.
That's daunting for someone who's qualified, who's been cutting 30, 40 haircuts and been paid for it suddenly. That they'll go and do, you know, I've got my guys that I'll send over and they'll go and do some courses, and we've used some of the courses at London School of Barbering. And it gets them over their fear really quickly, I think, by throwing you into it.
I think what they do really well there is they ease you into it. So you're not going to be straight in doing a foil fade. You'll do like a 1 fade, and then you'll do a 0.5 fade, then you'll do a 0 fade, then you might do a detailer fade. So it's just that slightly bit smaller than the 0 on the clipper, and then you'll go down to doing the foil. The foil fades is actually part of the level 3. So you won't actually do a foil fade in a foil fade, skin fade on the 9-week course. But I think the way that they ease you into it, and the way that you know that there's the teachers and stuff around you too, it puts you at ease. It does put you at ease. Like,
I mean, I think the quality of their teachers is astoundingly good.
Yeah, there's some really good teachers there. Like, I can't one of them's not actually there anymore. She moved to Australia, called Charlotte. She was the manager when I was there. She was brilliant. But there's Noel Vella and Sarit, very talented barbers, and like I say, like really, really good on putting you at ease and stuff. And also say they won't, I think, depending on your personality, I think where I was quite confident into it, they'll tell you if you was doing something wrong, which I really did like as well. I want you to tell me, like, don't do that. Or if I've gone in and jumped the gun, getting a bit too confident or something with it after like 7 weeks, think I've got this. I'm going to be a good barber. To bring you back down to earth and be. I think it benefited me loads. Like, I can't.
I mean, weirdly, it does seem like the kind of background of sales and everything you were doing work-wise has kind of married up quite well now. Even if at the time you didn't kind of recognise it, that you weren't. There's a lot of skills that you've brought from your previous job.
I think
to this one.
I think what helps as well with the sales things is the extrovertness of it, being able to chat to people. I think that's maybe what I felt was missing before, especially when I was working at home on the phone. There isn't that actual interaction with people. Sometimes I'll be seeing 10. I see 10. The most I actually like to do in a day as a barber, which might be controversial to some people, is 10.
Right.
I feel like after 10.
You're done.
I'm not that I'm done. I just don't feel like that 11th person's going to get the same approach and mindset as my first cut of the day. And that's just because potentially I like to book this hair and beard. I like to book people out for an hour slot. We might not necessarily be cutting your hair the whole hour or beard, but it just gives a little bit of leeway of it not being rushed, get in my chair, whip your coat off, whip that back in. I just feel like it relaxes a little bit. So the 10 in a day is the maximum for me. And the way that I see that, that's 10 different conversations with people. You may start the conversation off the same way. How was your day? How have you been? go through the haircut and stuff. But obviously, as you cut people's hair, you develop rapport with people. People become more comfortable. And I like listening to people as well. And I say I like listening. I'm obviously rambling on here. I obviously like chatting. I like chatting in as well. So
so
it's marrying up nice.
Just so you did the 12-weeker.
12-weeker. Yeah.
You've done the 12-week. By the end of the 12 weeks, presumably you're feeling pretty confident and ready to go. Were you cutting mates, friends, siblings? Was everyone around you getting a fade? Every haircut you trained in was being punted out?
Yeah, I think I was very fortunate. Like when I was going back into the college whilst I was at college and I was cutting people, I said, I managed to cut 3 extra people last night. A lot of people I spoke to, I'm struggling to get extra bodies. And that's just like, I felt lucky in that way that I did have friends, little brothers, girls that I knew, their dads.
Yeah,
it wasn't just a bloke friends. It was my little brother, my cousin, and I think definitely something that helped me as well is I played football a lot throughout my life, and the expenditure from getting through social media connections that I built throughout the years of playing football and stuff. I had a lot of clients come and a lot of people willing to give me a shot. It was quite funny when I first put my post up to announce that I was going to be leaving my job and I'd appreciate any support that I could get. A guy, my friend Chris, has got really long, nice hair. Not long, but like a really nice push back. You know, the style. It's got like a little bit of a men's spine, nice look to it. And he come in boots, and I was like, I can't believe you're trusting me, mate. Like, were you like, he was like, well, you're not qualified. I was like, no, I haven't started. Do you know what I mean? He thought I was qualified, but he gave me a go, and he was happy with the trim, and he's still a client now. So
that's fantastic.
So by the time I finished the course, a lot of people I knew had already been getting cut.
Yeah.
So the certificate didn't make a lot of difference, but I have them displayed above my little setup at home now, just because I get someone new, say from the shop, we've built up the report, I'm comfortable enough to be like, why don't you come to my house and get a trim if you can't get on that Thursday? And I had them up prior to display just to let them know that I am qualified. I am qualified.
So you did your 12-weeker. By then you were, over 12 weeks, you're presumably cutting, over the course of each week, you're cutting 7-8 haircuts a week? So
at the end, or at the beginning, you do 2 a day. One, you get an hour and a half each haircut and a little hour in the morning, so I think it was just 4.5 hour days. But towards the end, last week, they want you doing 4 a day, they want you on the hour doing that. If you can't finish it, the teachers are there, they will come over, because obviously, if run like a barbershop, a lot of these people are coming to get a haircut in between work. They've got to leave, so they will finish it. But there's 4, so there is a little bit of pressure on you, but it gets you ready for that shop environment. You can't be taking an hour and a half, 2 hours to a haircut, so it really by the time you finished in the school, you're pushing around maybe 50, 60 haircuts you've done? Yes, maybe a bit more, I reckon, maybe a bit more, yeah, say 70, 80, and then you are doing pretty much the same again in the evenings and on the Saturday and the Sunday. And the Saturday and the Sunday, yeah. So by the time you'd done your 12 weeks, you'd really done probably pushing towards a couple of hundred haircuts. A couple of hundred, I reckon. So, and one thing I did do is I wrote down every haircut. I've still got the book. Still got the book indoors as well. So it's like, it was more of, a lot of things for me was psychological, although I know that I've done it. Sometimes I can physically see that and be like, I've done 100 haircuts there. I've done 150 haircuts there. So I don't think that's the big bit. I think I've spoken to a lot of people here. And a lot of people can be a bit dismissive of the short courses, as you're saying, some of the Facebook reports you get. And I think, again, from your point of view, from when we first kind of made contact through Insta, the enthusiasm, the energy that you've put into it, and then to have done, I think I'd struggle. I think if I reached out to other salons and barbers in shops, how many of them would have done a couple of hundred haircuts over the last 3 or 4 months of their training? And I think that's the difference. I think you do have to get your hours in. You've got to physically do the haircuts. And, if you do the same haircut in week 6 as you do in week 12, the difference in that is massive. So, no, man, well done. That's fantastic. So you finished your 12 weeks. Yeah. And then what happened then? You said you're working in Basildon and you're giving everyone a card and a flyer, whether they want it or not. Yeah. What happened? So week 12, you're out on the street, you finish the course, you're a barber. Yeah. What are you doing? straight away I'd arranged a meeting with the owner of the salon anyway to have a little coffee. It wasn't a formal meeting. Like I say, the way that I met the owner of my salon, Rob, is prior to becoming a barber, I'd grow my hair out really long, right down to here. I'm talking real ponytail. So I wanted to look for like a quite nice salon in the area to get my hair cut. I found them on Instagram. And even then, this was, I think when I got my haircut, it was about 2019 or 2020, around like that early lockdown. I mentioned when I was getting my haircut, so I'd love to do this. And that morning when I went there, it almost like, it was reassured me that I really did want to do this as well. And I wasn't even going there with the intention to be like, oh, I was getting my haircut. And it was, I'd gone there early morning because it was such a big transformation. The owner, he said, can we do a little bit of content? I said, yeah, that's absolutely fine, mate. I'm trying to get myself out of my shell a little bit more again, because I felt like 10 years of working in that city, although I appear extrovert, had made me a little bit more closed off. So yeah, it was a nice morning, just me and him filming some content, cut my hair, and I started talking to him. I was like, what do you think? Do you reckon I could do something like this? He's like, when I said it like that, I think he thought I just thought of it that morning. I think I thought of it that morning and gone, oh, I could be a barber. But it weren't until after I messaged him and was like, no, it's something that I really want to do. He's like, have you got an idea of how you would do it? And I said, yeah, I'm planning on saving this. And said, keep in contact with him, kept in contact with him, finished at the course, went for that coffee, cut his hair. That was my test. It was obviously, instead of looking at, there's video, obviously I've got videos and stuff, but he was like, why don't you bring your scissors, cut my hair? So I cut his hair. You like what you're seeing? He said, yeah, come next week. But obviously, when I went there next week, I had no clients. Yeah. Like I said, I had none. Like in that area,
and that's predominantly a kind of more female. You're the only kind of essentially barber. It's a salon setup.
Yeah. So Rob, the owner, he does cut men's hair as well, but predominantly I do women. And there's a guy that started there now, a really talented hairdresser. His name's Jason Dyer.
Right.
Sassoon educated and stuff. So I'm going to be absorbing stuff off of him now as well. But he does cut men's hair as well. But they're great people to learn from as well. They might cut hair slightly different because of, like you said, probably when you sort of learn to cut hair, and then obviously they've come with the times as well. Like, but a lot more scissor, a lot softer. Yeah. But yeah, good people to learn from. Really good people to learn from.
And then you're set up at home. Is that what you're?
Yeah, it's quite funny, really.
How's that feeling? So this is a shed or a bedroom or something?
It would be nice if it was a shed at the moment, but I've got a flat. So what we did, Mrs. is okay with it now. She's got used to it. We got rid of the dining room table. So it's essentially in like my dining room, living room area, but I've shut it off. There's a few ring lights around the back, but it's quite in my living room. You feel comfortable. There's a dartboard and stuff for people to play while they're waiting, but it feels professional around there, although it's in someone's living room, dining room. You're not going to be croaked up on someone's chair. I've got a proper full barber chair. We go back. I can do the shaves, wet shaves there. So it does feel like a salon experience, and it's one-to-one, which a lot of my clients do like. A lot of my clients like one-to-one nowadays. I don't know if that's just the way that people are going nowadays, where you go into, a lot of people are a bit more individual, or a lot more people see the barbershop as a place that they can go and vent, maybe. Sometimes they might be conscious someone in the chair next to them of what they're going to say. So I'm popular at my house. I'm really happy. Yeah.
And is that how you want to keep it, or are you wanting ultimately to get a chair somewhere in a store, or?
I wouldn't get another chair in a different shop now. What I would do is I would extend my days in Brentwood. Very happy. Fantastic. And the relationship I've got with Rob is absolutely golden.
Fantastic.
Absolutely golden. And like I say,
and switch that, drop one, pick one up, drop one, pick one up.
And I think if I got a shop, one thing that I would be conscious or worried about, if I got a job in a shop in like, again, I wouldn't want Basildon because I have my Basildon set up, say, or Rayleigh or anywhere. Would I be spreading myself too thin? So those clients in that area have only got an option of 1 day a week to go with me. So I have to be conscious of like what I'm going to do. But ideally, like I said to you previously, I do think I've almost took it to the ceiling of where you can go at my house. I can't add any more services in my house. I can't really give someone a luxury hair wash with a head massage over my bath or my shower. We haven't got a basin.
I don't know.
we haven't got a basin. So, I mean, a few of my mates put their head down and go over it, but they're obviously used to me. I couldn't do that with like a new client per se. So I am conscious of that, but a lot of the videos and advice and stuff that I watch is that you should try and stay in an area for at least like 2 years. I heard, just to build up that
Build
clientele.
yourself
Or if you're
properly.
constantly changing, you're going to be chopping and
Back
not
to
making
square
yourself
one.
available.
Yeah.
So it was a year that I'd been at the shop in October. So I'm in the second year now, and I only work there Thursdays. Thursdays are really booked up for me, so it's going well. There might be an option where I get another day there. But as far as myself and development, obviously the end goal for everyone is to have their own business.
Yeah.
And I think part of me, when I remember talking to my mum about it, was the end goal would definitely be to have my own business. No one in my family's ever had their own business. We've all worked for people. And that's not a bad thing.
No.
Not a bad thing at all. But I feel like
There's a bit of entrepreneur floating around in your system.
I feel like there's something there that I know. Obviously, I'm 30 this year. So
Well,
I'm still young enough to
listening to your
be.
gut's done you right so far.
Yeah.
I mean, how is the health now? Are you feeling now you're
Absolutely fine.
Now you're a barber,
I'm
you're back, you
absolutely
feel like
fine.
yourself again?
Yeah, I feel like myself.
And good from everyone else around you that's known you through all of it.
Yeah,
Thinks you've done the best thing possible.
It's quite funny. I'm pretty sure if you ask my nan, she'd say I'm a much nicer person to be around. I think sometimes that office,
it's always worth checking with your nan.
Sometimes that office life and anger and the office is grey itself, so you feel grey. Do you know what I mean? And that it different reflected on my life. Like, I know it's probably sound cliche, but in the salon there is a lot more colour, and that's how I feel like my life's going at the minute. There's a lot more.
Well, you've
colour
got
in it.
that kind of ever-changing kind of scenery, haven't you? That you're seeing different people, you know. And the thing that I've always liked is, people are returning every kind of 4 or 5 weeks. It's like catching up with a mate once a month, and it's a good shout.
Yeah, and like you said, with the catching up with the mates side of things, I'm seeing my mates more. I'm seeing my friends more, like, because you get older, life gets in the way. Obviously, when I say like I'm 30 in May, a lot of my friends' marriage on the cards and having babies, and we all see each other a little bit less.
Yeah.
So that once a month guaranteed to have that catch up in how's work, having for you, how's the baby, how's the girlfriend. It's good for people, and it's definitely good for me. So.
And how are you finding charging them? Are people paying quite happily, or have you found that a bit difficult?
Yes.
There's the move from free to mates rates to proper rates is a hard shout.
It's always that question as well. I see, it's like, do you give mates rates? For my mates, no. They pay the
You're
same.
a mate. You want to see me do all right.
They understand. I've got a flat to pay for. If I decide to give everyone mates rates half price, we've got to do double the amount of people. And at the beginning, like I say, or even now, like 15 months down the line, that's like finding clients again. That's me on the street again, asking to get more clients. I think the way that it's working now, there's a gradual increase of clients, which is sustainable. 1, 2, 3, 4 new people a month. Then the next month, that's another 4, and then the next month. So say 3 new people a month, like, doesn't sound like a lot. But if you've got a client basis of 100 people in a year, that's another 36.
Yeah.
The next year, that's another 36. And it's like, you're only one person. While I don't have another shop, I can only cut, or I don't have another space or to expand.
Well, if you're getting 40, 50 clients a week, you cracked it and some.
I would say that's probably a bit of a big exaggerated number. I would say like on a good week, 30, 38 people sort of thing. But then when you mentioned price rise, we're in Brentwood, because I've been doing it a lot longer, I've booked courses, I invested myself quite a lot. And obviously it's quite a well-established salon. If you was to get a haircut for say like gents haircut from the stylists in there, they're £40 haircuts. So if I was working in them and said my haircuts are £15 or £20, I'm already shooting myself down as a worse. I'm the worst one in the building, which my gents cuts, although coming into it later, I don't believe that they are. I know that there's obviously work to do. So my haircuts at Brentwood, they increased recently, it's £30 for a haircut. So some people may not want to pay that, but I'm booked out in the area.
Yeah, no,
so it's one of those ones where it's...
I think talking through it with lots of people, they're kind of, being proud of what you're charging is, I think, a really important thing to do. And I think it's very easy to waste a lot of your time or I can't really charge that. I've got to be less than them. They've been doing it 20 years. And, and I think if you got to look at what the product is, and if you're proud of it, then it should reflect in your price.
Well, like I say, when we were at Brentwood, I book out an hour slot. There's the basins that will give you a nice head wash, Indian head massage. There's the cutthroat razor options with the beard. I have the oils and the creams, the aftershaves and stuff after. It's like, I think what we're doing at the shop reflects definitely in the price, and there's no one that has complained. Or there's no one that has, well, not to my face.
No,
obviously, don't know that. They could do that behind the back. Obviously,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
absolutely fine. They might not come back, but then I will know, won't I?
Yeah.
But at the moment, like, it's been a really good start to the year. January, like booked out every week so far.
And so Blade as well, Cutthroat. How are you getting on with that? Is that
like-
all through London School?
So yeah, they do a London school. It's level 3 again though. So the Cutthroat's provided in
So
level
that's
3.
in the 12-week.
Yeah, and again, you're not going to be a master with a Cutthroat.
No, but you got mates that are willing to trust you and you enjoy it.
So actually, I've done myself a lot of the time. Not at the minute I'm experimenting with looks. I usually have a mustache.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm just trying out new things, you know. But on myself and my brother mainly at the beginning. And as far as wet shaves and stuff go, I don't do a lot of wet shaves. One, we don't offer them at the salon. And a wet shave at my house isn't going to be as luxurious as a wet shave in the salon.
Yeah.
I just don't. There's something about putting a towel in a microwave that's not the same as it getting steamed hot, you know.
No. Well, we did a podcast. We got a great mate, Mark Sproston, who's the shave doctor.
Yeah,
it's worth watching that podcast, anyone. But great courses, and all of our guys have learnt their shaving from him. Mate, I think it's been. I'm so pleased you came and spoke to me. I'm so pleased you've gone into the industry.
Yeah.
And like I say, I think your enthusiasm and your energy has made me feel fantastic. So I'm sure it reflects through to the lucky fellas who are getting a haircut from you.
It is. Everyone needs to do 10 years of a job they hate and then go into something that they love, and then you'll be happy.
Well, I think listening to you, knowing that actually doing something that you were doing and salaried and in that kind of rat race that was actually making you unwell just because of the kind of it wasn't what you wanted to do is a good shout for everyone. But mate, thank you very much.
Pleasure.
Liam, really lovely to meet you. Thank you for watching this episode of The Noble Barber. If you liked it, please do like and subscribe. If you've got comments of what we should be doing in future, please give us your questions and we'll try and find an expert to talk to. Or if you're the expert and you want to come on here and help, stay in touch, we'll get you on. Come and join us on the sofa.